Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and my name is Abiodun Shitu, and welcome back to another section of the backend development of this price precision app. This is the third section of this series. We started on this series whereby I wanted to become a React developer in 2 months, and we started an app called Price Precision, whereby the front end has been implemented to some space, and here is the implementation of the backend. So currently we started it on the implementation of the building of the API, the endpoint that is going to be consumed by the front end developers, whereby they'll be sending some data to the backend, and they will be sending back some kind of data back as responses based on what is available in the what's in the database. So currently we started with the creating of new user, the logic to create a new user, whereby it's just basically whereby the user can register with some particular info like the first name, the last name, gender, phone number, email address, password, business name, and the likes of them. So currently we have this here, and if you missed the previous section, I'm not going to walk you through how this code, how this logic came to be. We already explained that in the previous section. You might want to go back and take a look at the videos on our YouTube channel. That's just search for Topman Paul-Dike on YouTube. Then go to the playlist where you have JS ES6 React, and under the playlist you can just see the building of the web app, everything under building on the web app, the front end, the database, the back end. You can see we have two sections on the back end. So let's just continue with our section. So okay, in the previous section I tested this, and I'm going to run the test again on Postman. So I think I still have the collection here called Price Precision API, and I have the create user request, which is a post request. So before then, let me just start my server npm run dev, and my server is listening on a particular port, that's the on a particular link, and then the connection is established. This is just to show you that the connection with database was successful. So now if I should send this request now, I'm getting this user created successfully with the token, because that's a response that I want to get. If this is successful, okay, you can see when this has been created, I'm saying that I should insert all of these values. Okay, let me just do this here. Let me wrap this text so we can see the full gist of it. Yeah, so we are saying that we are definitely passing the first name and the data, the user information, as a request body. Then we are generating a unique ID for the business IDs. Then we are inserting it into the database that we created. Okay, and we are generating a token using the JSON Web token or module or package from npm, and we are storing just the business ID. Okay, you want to be careful of the payload that you pass into this token. Okay, you don't want to pass a sensitive information like the password or even the email address or something, so that they won't get spam. Anybody can actually this token can be decrypted, so that they can see the information stored in the token. So we just want to store the business ID in the token, so we can use it to validate that we can use it to keep track of which user is actually using our app at this particular point in time. So you can see the message we are sending is just user created and our token as a JSON object. So yeah, that's what we have here. So currently, if I should resend this now, it's still going to work. Okay, this is still going to work. I'm still going to get the same response, because I'm not actually but on my console I should get an error that this user should actually be present there, because I'm using a user. Okay, the email address is a unique key. Okay, let me just change it to Topman boss. That's the email that I actually used before. If I should send this, I'm still going to get the response that says user created successfully with the token. But on my terminal, I'm going to get an error. And the error is saying something about duplicate entry, because what? The email address is actually a unique key. Now, in our logic is not keeping track of whether the user already exists or not based on the unique key, which is the email address. We don't want two users with the same email address to register on our platform, because definitely you need a valid email address. All right, and we are going to actually check that. So just before we query, we insert all the user information into the database. We want to actually check for an existing user. Okay, we want to check for an existing user in the database. That means if there is a user with this email in the database, it should show a response saying that user already created or something. All right, or user with this email already exists, So we are going to create another variable called const. Let's call it existing user is equal to. So since we are just querying, I'm going to use the await, since it's a SQL is function. So we have a db.query. So I want to say select everything. Probably you can just select some particular information that you want to select, but you can just say select everything, because you are going to be selecting based on what the email address was supplied. Select everything from what's the name of our table, which is user underscore info. Yeah, where these are just this is just a query language. You should know your SQL. All right, where email is equal to, I want to use the query parameter, so I'm just going to use question mark as a query parameter, then pass it as a second argument. What am I looking for? I'm looking for email. That's the email supplied in this request body. All right, so now I'm not going to say that if. Now, do you know that if there is an email, that means the length of this particular what is returned? Okay, let me just do something for you now. Let's console.log existing email existing user dot length. Okay, because I want to show you something here whereby I'm saying that if existing user dot length is greater than 0, that means there's an existing user. I want to return a response with so I'm just going to return res.status code. So I told you earlier on that you need to know some status code, because if the user already exists, that means there's a conflict. That's the right status code to use. I want to pass in a JSON object as the message to return. So, and the message is going to say that user with this email already exists. Yeah, and there you have it. So if I should send this request with the same email, it's not going to be showing me on the console, whereby it's just going to be returning it on the as a response on the on to the user, rather, instead of having it on the console, because it's only the developer that will be able to see the error placed on the console. All right, so let's send this again with the same email address, which is topmanboss@gmail.com. I'm still getting this. Wow, it's not working. There's definitely something is wrong. Okay, let me restart my server. So if this works, I'm supposed to see this console.log. Let's do something here. Let me first stop this now. let's have console.log. Let me print a string, then plus whatever that is. Let me just say user. Okay, let's have it like this. Yep. User is equal to whatever the length is. So let's go. Okay, connection established, then send this. This is not what I was expecting. So let me see. Oh, it's showing that that existing user.length is undefined. Okay. 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 I think I know where this issue is coming from. I'm trying to use this await on this await doesn't even have any effect on this query method that I'm doing here. So definitely the MySQL doesn't support the promise syntax. It cannot return. It's not a promise based on function. All right. So I need to what to convert. I can use a callback function because this is an asynchronous function anyways. I can use a callback function so that we're able to get what the results whereby, but I don't want to use a callback. I want to use a promise anyway. So I'm just going to actually import another library called util. Okay, so let me just do it here. I'm going to import util from, I'm just calling it, you can call this any name. Like I said before, this is the library that I need, this util model. Okay, so inside that util model there is a function or method called promisify. Okay, that's promisify. It is used to convert a callback based, this db.query is actually a callback based function or a callback based process. It uses a callback. It requires a callback. You can see even from here, you can see from the property down here, inside this params, it requires a callback, a query callback, okay, which we did not actually pass here. So I'm just going to convert the query the callback to a promise based on function using the promisified method inside inside the util model. So I'm just going to call this, let me just say const, or let me just put a comment here just to show you that. And what I'm doing here is to convert the callback, or let me just say callback based, yeah, not you, okay, autocomplete, please behave yourself, callback based db.query to a promise based function. Let me just say function, to a promise based function. All right, so now I'm just going to declare a variable. Let me just call it query promise. All right, let me call the variable query promise. And mind you, don't worry about this. Every other thing you are seeing there is as a result of this tabline that I'm using. So query promise is going to be, I'm going to call the utils model, use the promisified method. You can see, if you look at this, it takes a function following the common error false, blah 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 blah. You can read on this on your own. So I'm just going to pass the db.query inside this db.query. That means I want to convert that db.query into a promise. Then I'm going to to bind it with the database. That's basically all. So instead of me using db.query here, so I'm just going to use this variable called query promise. I've converted this db.query into a promise based function. So anywhere there is db.query, I'm going to be using I can even use it here. So let me just select that one too. So clear. So I'm just going to be using the query promise that I used there, so that I'll be able to fetch the to fetch these results from from when this query is done. Okay, this is the how asynchronous work is by the code. Now this await that is here is just saying that what, continue running this logic. Don't wait until this particular process is done. Okay, this one what is doing is that this our function, this our logic here will keep running. This query we are doing into it might take a little while. Okay, instead of it to be waiting for this particular line to finish running before going to the next line, every other time we run, then when this is done, it's just going to what, to fix it where it's supposed to be, and then our logic will still works. Okay, so it's just basically not it's not just going to wait. So if I should retry this now, I should get the required response that I want here. Now I'm getting that what the message is now saying that what user with this email already exists, and my what is because what I have that existing user, the length of that, because what the length, this one is supposed to return a result for us because what this user has already been registered before, so the length will now be what is no more 0, is now what 1, and that is the condition that I'm using to check for what, for an existing user. All right, I hope that is clear. And if you still want to know about how the asynchronous function work, it's just by you saying this is a specific task. Okay, this is a logic. Inside this logic we have different tasks. Like now this line 14 is a specific task. You are collecting the what, you are saving some variables inside this place. Then this one too is actually a specific task. There are some tasks that actually take longer time than the rest, like fetching. This one that we are fetching something from the database, we are fetching from an external source, so this will actually take a little while actually. But instead of it to be waiting for instead of it to be waiting for this particular data to be fetched from the database, the program will keep what, executing the other logic inside this function without waiting for this data to be returned. So once the data is being once this operation is finished, your program will handle the result and display it as where it's supposed to be displayed, where we are using it. This is where we are actually using it. So it's just going to skip this step for the meantime and continue with with the logic. When this is done, then it's just going to to use it, display it where it's being required, and that is where we are getting it here. So that's just basically how the asynchronous function work. And this async and await is built on promise actually. It's built on promise. It's just an advanced feature of a promise actually. It's just a new syntax. It is newly introduced. Is ES8, I guess. That's ES 2017 or something. You might want to make a research on that. So let's move on. Now I think we are done with this particular creating of user. We've already handled for multiple user registering into our app by using this condition here. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of this my console.log. Let me just comment it. Okay, I use that one to actually debug, because I was actually expecting an error, because I already know that this my SQL does not support promise, so I needed to convert it to a promise based on function, because I don't want to use a callback inside here. I'm already using a promise with the help of this async and await. I already said that this is an async, so I'm already using a promise, so I don't want to mix two different error handling. Anyway, so let's move on with the logic to okay, I commented this one out before. I wanted to start this, but I wanted to test this endpoint and to make sure that it is working before moving on to the next endpoint. So the next one now is is for user to be able to to log in into into our account. Okay, to log in into our account. So definitely to log in now, we are going to get two values, two input from the user, which is what? Which is the, wait a minute, this thing is always, yeah, which is the what? I'm going to destructure the email and what? And password from what? From the request body. All right. So also, since I'm going to be querying into the database here, I'll also need this my line where I'm converting the callback based on db.query to what? To the promise based on function. So I'm just going to copy that line. We already know what it's doing. This one is just converting the what? The callback based on db.query to a promise based function. All right. So now what do I want to do? I want to check for an existing user. Definitely I will need to check based on what? The email address, right? So if the email address exists in the database or not. So I'm just going to do const. Basically it's just the same thing I did here. So I'm just not going to stress myself too much. I'm just going to copy this particular line because I need it. So basically what I'm doing here is just to check, go into the database and fetch all the what? All the user info, all the user information, where what? Using what? The email address supplied by the what? By the user. So now what if there is no user with this what? With this email in our database? We want to definitely return a particular what? Response that says definitely, that means what? The credential was, that email address supplied over is what? Is invalid. So we are now going to say if the existing user dot length, okay, dot length is equal to 0, definitely there is no what? User in that database with that what? Email. So I'm just going to say return where's the status. This should be a 401 response. That's like I think bad request or something, or is it 401? Or yeah, let me just, I think 401 should be bad request. I can't really, or 401 is not unauthenticated or something. Okay, let me just use 400 bad request for it. Dot 400 is bad request. That means you're trying to make a request that is not valid anyways. So I want to send a message to the user saying that what? Invalid. Now I'm not going to tell the user that what? This is an invalid email address, because what? It is the email address I'm using, so that I don't want to send, I'm actually requesting for two inputs, which is the email and password, but I don't want to tell the user which one is actually wrong. Okay, if you tell the user which one is actually wrong, what if the user was an hacker? Oh, the user will know that, oh, it is the email address that is wrong. Definitely let me just work on the password and I'll be able to enter this person's account. Okay, so I'm just going to say the message I want to pass here. I'll just say what? Invalid, not invalid email address. I'm just going to say invalid credentials, or I say invalid on email or password. So definitely the person will have to recheck, oh, this email is not correct, oh, the password is the one that is not correct. So I'm just leaving it to the user to what? To figure which one is not valid. All right. So now if that means, if this means that, well, if there is no what? User in the what? In the database based on that email, is just going to return this. What if there is a user? Then I want to what? To check that what? This password is the same password, the password supplied is the same password. So here I need to what? To verify. Let me be even putting some comment here. Verify the password, okay, in the database. But before, there's a way before, that what? The password, right? That we are already what? Returning what? The user's info with the email. It is being saved inside this variable called what? Existing user. So definitely we can access what the password from this existing user. Okay, let me just okay, let's just do something here. Let's do console.log existing user, so you can see what is being returned inside, what is being saved inside this existing user. All right, so I'm just going to go to my Postman and then create another request. Let me save this one. Let me create another request. Another request. This should be login the user. Okay, which is going to be a post request as well because we are sending data. So this is just going to be, what is the name of this? Okay, this is it here. But okay, I've not actually created the route for this, so I'm going to go back here. Here, this is just the handler. Okay, I need to come to route and then add the route here. I already commented this out before. So the handler for this is login. I'm just going to import the login user from the controller file and put it as as the handler. I explained this in the previous video. Okay, if you are lost currently in this section, you might want to take a look at the first section on backend, so you understand what I actually did here based on what has been done before. All right, so let me just send this request. So in the request body, I'm going to send this to raw. I'm passing a JSON. So I'm just going to come and copy. I'm a bit lazy here, so what I need is email and password. Yeah, I'm just going to come and copy it and paste it. Okay, sweet. Okay, so this is a valid user. Definitely, if you should go to, let me just log into my database so we can see what is there. Sudo mysql blah 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 blah. So I'm just going to pass in my password. I'm always forgetting this database password. Let me just quickly grab it for my env file. Don't worry. Okay, yeah, we are here. So I'm just going to use price. What's the name of the database again? Let me show databases. Okay, this is the name here. I hope you can, my screen is not that tiny. Okay, let me enlarge it a little bit. Sorry about that. So show databases. This is the database we are using, price underscore precision. So I'm just going to use that database. Okay, now I'm using the database. So I'm going to show, or let me just say, let me just select everything from user underscore info. Okay, so we have so many users here. Okay, I was actually testing some things before, but let's just go through this step by step. If you should look at this carefully, you are going to see a user with Topman boss at gmail.com. That's the first user that we have here, number one. So I've forgotten the way that they normally change the view of this particular thing, but here is the email address here. Okay, Topman boss, so he's already in our database. So if you should go back to our Postman, if you should send this request now, we are not actually returning anything. That's why this thing is taking a little bit of time. So let me just return a particular response. Let me clear you first. So going back to my controller, let me return something. Let me just pass in return. Don't let me return anything, so that our server will not, that request will not just keep running. Okay, so if I should send this now, okay, sending request. Now you can see what is run. The ID is 1. It brought out, that's this existing user that will console.log here. The first name, which is this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Then this is the email address that we used to. You can see the password is hashed. Okay, now, but the password that will be supplied by the user will be what? A plain text password. How can we compare? How can we verify that this plain this plain text password that is being supplied is the same thing with what? With the hash password, is by using a method called compare from that what Bcrypt package that we use to hash the password initially. Okay, you can see when we're signing up, we use this hash function from the Bcrypt model to encrypt the password. But there's a way that we can actually compare a plain text with an encrypted text using that same Bcrypt model by using a function from there called compare. So I'm just going to get rid of this, comment this console, and then continue with our work. So that means if the email address is valid, okay, they want to compare the password. So I'm going to save it in a variable called const. The comparison will return a true or false value. Okay, so I'm saving the value that it returns inside the variable. Let me just say let me just call it is password valid is equal to, okay, I'm just going to await it, Bcrypt, call the Bcrypt model, and then call the function from it, which is compare. So this compare takes on two arguments. The first one is the data, that's the raw text. Okay, the first one is the raw text, and what is the raw text we want to check, which is password. Yep. Then the next one will be will be the password from our database, which is existing user dot password. You can see from here we have a password field inside this object. So I'm using the dot notation, the dot notation to grab that password, to target the password inside this field. That's the value of the password. You can see so there you have it. So this is going to return a true or false value. If the password match, is going to be true. If the password if these two password does not match, it's going to return or false. So I'm going to, based on what is going to return, I'm going to check that if the password, I'm going to use this not operator. If it is not there, that means if it's incorrect. True, I think true is 1 and false is 0 or something. You might want to check that out. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But let's see, we can actually console.log the value of this. Console.log is password to see the value, actually to see what is actually printed out. Okay, so let me comment this one out. So let's send this request again. This is still going to keep on it, so let me stop it. Oh, sorry. Okay, I think there's a problem here. Okay, so we got this guy. Oh, this is an array. Okay, oh, it's an array, so I need to access the first index of it. Okay, that's the first one of it. If I should do, let me just show you what I mean. You can see it's an array that is being returned, an array of object. So I need to just target the first index of that array. That's the first object. That's what we actually need, which is this guy. If I should do this guy now, this console.log existing user, the first index, then dot password, that's when I'm going to actually get this particular password. So let me clear my screen here and then run this particular thing again. It's because I'm not returning it, that's why that one keeps running. You can see the password is you can see what it returned is is true, because the password match. Okay, so I'm not saying in this my if statement, I'm saying that if the value is false, which is this guy. So I'm changing it to false. If the value is false, I want it to return the same response that I returned for when the email is not valid. So that the user will, if it's an hacker, the hacker will not know which of the input that is incorrect. Then if this is actually correct, let me get rid of all this console. let me comment it you out. Let me comment you out. So if the password is correct, then want to what? To generate a token, a JWT token. I'm going to move really fast because we have like an hour. In the remaining endpoints, I'm not going to be explaining deeply like this. So I'm just going to generate a token. We already looked at how to generate a token. So I'm just going to create a variable. We actually generated a token in while signing up. This is it here. Okay, by using the JWT sign function to generate the token. So we have it here. We have our secret key and we are using the business ID. Now this business ID that I passed here is not actually valid, so I need to use the business ID from what, from that is being returned inside this what existing user. Inside this existing user info, if we should scroll back to the object that we've got, you can see we got something like a business ID, and this is a value that is here. Okay, is this business ID I want to save inside the what, inside the token, so that we're able to validate what the user. All right, so I'm just going to say business ID is taking the value from existing user at the first index dot business ID. All right, so there you have it. Then if this has been generated, now I want to return the response to the user, response the status, which is going to be status code of 200, which stands for okay, it is successful. Then I'm going to return a message which says message which says login successful. Okay, is it actually okay? I made a mistake here. Then I'm going to send the token back as well, because it's the token I will use to actually what, to validate the user, that will in case the user wants to like access some other information inside our website. We want to be that is just like I opened up this website now. Want to make it such that a user, you can see there is a user on this thing here, profile here. So this product that is being created here can only be manipulated by the user that created it, not by other users. Although we want all the customers to actually to be able to view all the products and all the prices that are actually here. All right, so now if there's an error, I'm using the try catch statement. So if there's an error with this code, it's going to be caught here, and I want to say console. I think I have something like it here. Yeah, something like this, but not entirely like that. But let me just copy it. Most of the time I'm going to be doing copy and pasting, but here will be error error login in user. That's what I want to see on my console, login in user. Then once me with the error.message, then what you are going to be returned to the user will be internal server error, because this is going to be a server error. If there is a problem with the code, it's something internal. The user should not be able to see what exactly is wrong with our code. All right, so there you have it. So let's test this login route again. So now if I should log in now, I'm going to say that you can say login successful. Then I get the token that was being generated. And again, I want to show you something that I use a business ID. There's a way I can actually confirm that. Let's go to jwt.io. Yeah. Then at this point, I think there's a place here. There's a place where we can actually encode and decode. So at this point, we will be able to see the data encoded inside this string. So if I should paste it now, I can see business ID is actually here, which is which is this ID that is here. If you should go to our database and confirm, you will find out that what is the same, what exactly the same ID. You can see it ends with 0568, and this is what 056A that is here too. So sweet, we are moving on. So let's go back to testing the endpoint. So if you supplied an invalid password, password is password. Let's say the user made a mistake and did not put the D there. It's going to prompt you with a message that says that what invalid email address or password. So we are not telling the user specifically which of the inputs is what is invalid. Likewise, if the password is correct and probably the email address is wrong, let me remove the M from this. It's still going to get the invalid email and password, because the data will not be been able to retrieve from the database. All right. So there you have it. Okay, sweet. We are done with the users endpoint. Now let's go to the product endpoint. Okay. So let me show you how the product table looks like, because we already showed you this from the beginning. So we have this is the user table, and this is the product table, and the product table is having a foreign key from which is the business ID. That's why I'm saving the business ID inside the token, because it's the business ID I'm going to use to authenticate or authorize any user that want to create a product. So if you want to create a product, you have to be logged in or sign in first, because you won't be able to create a product without being a logged in user. Okay. And again, because we need your business ID, which is only gotten from when you create an account. And also we cannot perform other operations like the updating, the deleting, and the reading of product if you are not a logged in user or an authorized user. All right, so let's go on. So for that now, for the products endpoint, that's the creating, updating, reading, and deleting. For the product endpoint, I'm going to create another file. For the controller, I'm going to call it a product. I don't want to jam pack everything inside one particular file. That's why I'm doing this. So I want to make my code to be as neat as possible. Product.controller.js. Okay, this is your own naming convention might be different. It's just for me to know that, this is a product, this is a controller, this is a product controller, although it is inside controller. So I just need to differentiate which is user and which one is product. And also I will also need a product route. So I will create another file here called product.route.js. I think that's about the two files I need. So just like the same way I created this route here, it will be the same way I'll be creating this route here. And also remember, I only mounted a route for user. I'll definitely be mounting a router for a product as well. Okay, so that will move at a very fast rate. I'm just going to copy. Okay, I'm just going to grab everything here. All right, and paste it here. So I don't need you, and I don't need these guys. So this is exactly what I need to set up my router. Okay, so for this route, I'm going to need about 4. We said create. Want the user to be able to create route. To create product. Let me just add a comment here. So we have create product. Then we want the user to be able to fetch. Let me just call it fetch product. We want the user to be able to, okay, let me just say fetch all products. Yeah, let's do like this. Fetch all products. Fetch a single product, and then update Of course, you can't update all the products at the same time. You have to update a single product, then what? Then delete a single product. Yeah, these are like 5 endpoints. So I'm going to actually create a route. So this should be, since you are creating, you are sending data. So it's rather a router.post is a post request. Then I'm going to just set up the path. Let me set up the path to be product/product/create. All right, then I'm going to pass in, the second argument will be the handler, which I'm going to implement it in the controller. Then this one, I'm going to call it is fetching. It's just a router.get. I'm going to call it router.get. Then let me set up the path to be /product, then /all, so that I will be able to know that this is for what? For all the products. All right, then this one too, I'm going to get router.get product/1. Let me just call it 1 for a single product. Then we have this handler. Then all right. Then for a single, okay, /1 anyways. For this one, there are actually different ways, but let's just start with this, the creating of one product anyways. So let's go. Now the handler, so I'm just going to say, let me just call this create a new product. Okay, so I'm going to export it. That would be export const create product, which is going to be an asynchronous function, whichever is pronounced. Then it's going to take in a request and a response. Okay, for now, because we are not like using a middleware to handle the error. Okay, and this is going to be a try catch statement. So I'm going to definitely catch an error here. So let's leave that one for now. So when creating a product, what are the data that we need? We need the order number, which is going to be automatically generated by the is an auto increment. So it's not gotten from the user. The business ID is not gotten from the user as well. The product name, we need it. The price, the par, the status, yeah, the product status. But by default, the product status is true. Anyway, so the user can later come and update it, even though the user did not supply it. The product status in terms of whether it is available or not. So we are using a true or false value. A true if it is available, a false if it is not available. All right, but by default it will be true. So if it is out of stock, the user can come and update it later. So the essential things that we need there is just the product name, the price, and the per whether it's per unit or per term or whatever. But by default it is per unit, or you want it per packet or per carton or something. So let's go. Where was I? Yeah. So sorry about that. I have a little sore throat. So let's get the required input from the body. So we said we need the product name from the user, product name here, comma, what else? We need the price, and we need the par, and basically we need the product status, product underscore status. That's what I actually put there. Let me confirm if that is all we need. The product name, the price, the par, and the product status. Yes. So, and this is going to be gotten from the request.body. Sweet. So now this is where the trick comes in. You know that is either we want the user to send us the business ID, to pass in the business ID as a query parameter, or we use the business ID that is being stored inside the what, inside the token, to authenticate that what this user is what is logged in. Those are like the two ways to actually go about it. But we don't want the user to actually, we don't want to manually get the user even from the as a parameter or from anywhere. We just want to use what, the token. Once you supply us with the token, we'll be able to what, to know which user is which, because what, the ID is an entity in the what, in the users table collection, or is, yeah. All right, so let's just for that, I'm going to create a middleware, and a middleware which is going to handle the what, the authorization of any user, okay, based on what, the token that is being what, being generated. But there's a way that it can actually be implemented. Okay, there's a way that it can actually be implemented. I can extract the business ID so that I'll be able to use it inside this place. So just to save us time, I'm going to actually what, create the function inside this particular file. Let me call it const, or let me just create it inside another file. Let's create a new folder here. Let's call it middleware. So inside this middleware, let's call a file called what, user dot auth.js. All right, so inside this place, I'm going to be using the JWT anyways, because that's the only way I can, is a JWT, I can use it to encrypt and what, decrypt any token. I can pass a string and then encode it, then the encoded string I can decode it back to what, to a string. So I'm going to import JWT from JSON web token. I'm going to be really fast about this. So this is going to be, let me just write a comment here. So this is going to be a middleware to extract the business ID, basically business underscore ID from the token, So I'm just going to create a variable function here. So I'm going to export, since I'm going to be needing it, is inside another file. Export dot, that will be extract business ID. Oh, thank you very much. Auto completion. So since this is a middleware, okay, we are going to use passing what we call, is going to collect on 3 parameters, which is the request, the request, the response, and what, a next function. I'm going to show you how this works in a minute. So let's write the logic for this middleware. So the first thing we want to do is to what, is to get the token from the request header. Okay, so there's an header, part of this request. This request is an object anyways. So part of this object, there's, there's body, there's header, there's params, there's query, there's IP. There are so many things under this request. Okay, so we are just going to get that from here. Oh wow, what did I do? Okay, request header. So I'm just going to declare a variable const token is equal to, that will be request dot headers, because that will be request dot headers. I would have loved to show you how this works, but just to save too much of our time, I'm just going to pass in the right what detail. So request dot header dot what authorization. So let me make it, let me make this a try catch all, so that I can catch any error that is being thrown inside this logic. All right, so, and let me make it okay, let's just leave it like that for now. So you might want to actually do some checks that says that what your your token can start with some specific keywords, like we have the bearer token, or you want it to start with something just to make it just to set an authorization on something. So you can do an if check here that says that what if there is no token, if there is no token supplied, that means if there is no token in the header, or if token, let me put, if token does not start with, there's a start with method on a string. That means this is what you want your token to start with. What's wrong with you? Start with, you want it to start with bearer. Okay, then I'm going to throw some kind of error that says that what return res.status code. This is 403, which is an unauthorized code, or probably, yeah, this is a forbidden error. Okay, .json, which is going to say with a message that says missing, let me just say, missing, yeah, they just call it like this, meeting authorization header. Now, okay, let me just rename this one as what header, actually. Control DD. So let's just rename this as auth header. Okay, then now we want to get the token from the header. Okay, so I'm just going to say const token is equal to auth header dot split. I'm going to split them with spaces, and get the second index, which is at the second element in the string, which is is going to split into an array. So the first one is bearer, while the second is actually the token itself. Okay, so you can still do another if statement that says that people are disturbing me, that says if there is no token, that means if it is invalid, they are now going to return with a message missing, but this time is not header, it is token. Yep, sweet. Now if there is a token, now if there is a token, you want to verify and decode the token. Use with jwt.verify. So I'm just going to say const, let me just call it decoded token. Decoded token is equal to jwt.verify. I'm using this verify method. It's just going to take in the token together with your secret message. So I'm just going to say token, which is a token that I've gotten from the header, and then I'm going to pass in my secret key. So let me quickly grab that from the user controller. I think I saved it inside this variable. I will still need this .env and the likes of them. So let me just copy this guy and come here and paste it at the top here. Okay, so I'm just, oh sorry, not here, where's that file? Middleware, yeah, here. So I'm just going to, wow, I did not copy it. Are you serious? I thought I copied it. Okay, let me paste it here. So the second argument should be secret key. That's it. So this is going to verify, is going to this dot verify is just going to what, to decode the what, the token that is being passed to it. It's just like just like this way we're able to use this what, this their interface to decode it by what, it will not give you what, the payload. Okay, but we need the secret key to be passed there as well. So now I'm just going to what, the next thing I'm going to what, to extract what's that what, business ID. So I'm just going to say from the word, from this decoded token. So I'm just going to say const. I'm going to use this destructuring just to extract it. So business underscore ID is equal to decoded token. After extracting it, I'm now going to set this. What's your problem? I'm going to set. So I'm going to add the business. Sorry about this. I'm going to add the business ID to the request. Sorry. To the request object. Now I told you this request is an object. You can actually or save any variable inside this request object so that it can be used anywhere. So I want to what, to save what, that will be request dot what, dot business ID is equal to the what, the business ID that is here, and that is it. So this our middleware will be what, will be the one in charge of what, of extracting what, the token, I mean the business ID from the what, from the token being supplied in the what, in the header, in the request header. Okay, so now let's go back here. So inside our product controller, what we'll just do is just to what we just need to do is just to come here and say that what, instead of having the user to supply with the what, with the business ID, we already know the business ID from the token. Just say const business ID is equal to what, request, just get it from what, from the request dot what, dot business ID, and that is it. So we are getting the value of business ID and save it inside a variable called what, business ID. And as well, we can actually what, destructure it by doing this business ID, using the destructuring object destructuring instead of, because they are of the same name. So you're just going to get what, the business ID from what, from the request object, and that's it. Because inside the middleware we saved the what, the business ID into a variable called what, we saved the business ID into the business ID property of what, of this what, request object. All right, and we are getting that what, business ID from what, so that we'll be able to use it inside this controller to what, to authenticate the user. All right, so now we've gotten the business ID. It's because we need the business ID in the table, that's why we are actually doing this. So we don't need to actually do a check that if there is no business ID or blah 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 blah. We can actually still do the check that if there is no business ID and the likes of them, even though a token is supplied but the business ID is not there, or the business ID is not valid, or stuff like that, we are still going to throw some kind of what, error. But anyways, let's just move on. So I need to actually I still need this conversion of callback to what, to promise based. So let's just move at a faster rate here. So how do you create? All I need to do is just to since this is just going to create, okay, I don't need to get this information, this product that is being created back. Another endpoint is going to handle the fetching of the data. But this one is just sending the data into the database. I can just do await query.promise query promise, which is handling the DB. Oh, I did not actually import some things here, so I'm going to quickly import them. I need all this all this importation that is here. Where you? Yep. I need all these guys. inside my product controller. I actually don't need this usual ID, so you get away. I don't need this JWT as well. So that's all I need here. Okay, sweet. So what am I creating? So this is going to be, it should be promise. This is going to be insert into, what am I inserting into? The product info. That's the name of the table. Product underscore info. What am I inserting into this? Just the same way we actually did this insertion, where we are inserting into when the user was creating the account, basically the same thing. So there's no new thing about this. So I'm just going to insert the values. What are the values I want to insert? What I want to insert are what? Business ID, the product name, the price, the par. Let me just do this. The par, then the product status. The product status. Okay. So what are the values? Where are the values gotten from? So values. So in these values, I'm just going to use the query injection. Query params, which are, you can use question mark, or you can just use any character as a query params. It's still going to work. Question mark or this dollar sign is still, but you need to specify which one is which. So how many data are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I'm not done. So outside this string, I'm just going to pass the array of of values inside here. So what are those values? It will be accordingly. You have to arrange them accordingly the way it is, but it is being arranged. If you go and put product name first, so let's say for instance I'm going to put product name here. So product name will be inserted into the business ID column. So you need to specify accordingly, arrange them accordingly. So don't make mistake. Business ID first, then product name, then the price, and the product, the par and the product status. Like I told you, the other number will be inserted by by the database, because we use this auto increment constraint inside the model. So going back here, so when this is done, then I want to say res.status. Okay, let's say return. I want to return it res.status. This should be 200. Then .json. Then we have a message saying that products are created successfully. Yeah, product created successfully. Sweet. Then here, let me just quickly copy the error message I have here. So the catching of the error. So since this is going to be value true, so this will be error creating products, not user in this case. So products, there you have it. I think this should it should actually do it. So if we are my server is still running. Okay, let me just clear this first. My server is still running, so let me restart it. Okay, my server is still running. So let's quickly test this endpoint before we go on. Or probably should we just finish the whole logic, then come and test the whole endpoint? Okay, I think that should be a good idea. We can actually fix the error later on. So the next one is to fetch all products. Okay, I think that's after creating the product. I want to be able to fetch, to see all the product that I created. Okay, so now in order for me to fetch all products, what I don't need anything from the user. It's just a get request. So I'm just going to export const, that's the name of variable, or yeah, fetch, or let me just say fetch, what's your product? Fetch all products. Okay, let me name it this. This is going to be an async function because we are going to query into the database, and this is going to take a request and a response. Then we are now going to do our try catch. So there's a way you can see, instead of having so many try catch, there's a way that you can actually create a function for this. Just create an helper function for this try catch so that you'll be able to start writing try catch everywhere inside your inside your logic. You can see there are so many try catches, so I'm just going to copy this error again. So you can create a middleware that will handle all this error that is being thrown inside inside the catch statement of try catch. All right. So inside here, what I just want to get is this Control Z, is the business ID from the request, because without only log the users that will be able to fetch all the products, but we want, okay, this one now I'm saying that because if I say that if I should fetch all the products based on this business ID, it's only the user that actually created that product that will be able to see this product, but not other users or other users of the app. But I think the main point of the app is for all the customers that want to actually make use of a particular restaurant to be able to see all the products of the restaurant. So I don't need to set any authorization on this on this endpoint. I'm going to make it open for all. Okay, so what I would just want to do is just to retrieve all the products. So I'm still going to need this, my converting of callback to promise. Then the next thing I want to retrieve all products. That's it. Retrieve all the products. Did I tell you this property I'm working on? Behave yourself. So I'm not going to limit it to, I'm not going to limit the search. All right. I'm going to just select all products. You can also select a product based on a particular ID or the likes of them, but let me just select all the products. All right. So I'm going to save that result into a variable called products. Const products is equal to our query promise, but this should be await query promise. Then I'm going to pass my query, which is going to be select everything from products. As simple as that. Straightforward. Nothing. I'm not saying where business ID is this or that or something. So I'm just, after that, because I want this endpoint to be opened, generally open, I want to return the status to bracket. I'm supposed to actually, yeah. Then I'm going to return a JSON. I can decide to return a message that says message all products retrieved successfully. Then I'm going to pass the products that was retrieved as part of the response. I did not spell my message well here. Yeah. So I'm just saying all products retrieved successfully. Then the product will be will be wrapped in as part of the object. So it will be products. And this one too is returning an object. So it will be products as a value, then the object as a product as a key inside this object, and the value as what is being returned from the query. Okay, I think that's all under the fetch all. Okay, now we can still decide to fetch based on probably it's just the user, he doesn't want to see all the product generally, want to see he just want to fetch products that he himself was created. So we can actually have another endpoint for that, or probably let me just refactor this one to actually do that purpose. Okay, so for this one now, what I just want to do is to actually fetch that business ID from the query. Okay, because there's going to supply the token. We want only logged in user to be able to the logged in user that actually created this product to be able to see all the products created by that particular user. Then I want to, in this case, I'm just going to select everything from the product. Okay, that's not our table. From product info is the name of our table. We'll have gotten an error here and nobody saw that, where business ID is equal to question mark. Then the second this thing I want to pass will be the business ID. Sweet. So this is just going to return all the products that was created by this particular user that has this business ID. Okay, it's not going to create other products from other users. All right, so let's move on. So I'm just going to say, I think the next one is fetch. Let me quickly confirm. The next one is to fetch a single product here. Okay, fetch. What's the problem? Fetch a single product. Okay, so I'm just going to create a variable const fetch. Let's call it fetch single product. Okay, we're going to start typing my try catch again, and then this should be error, not error fetching products. This should be products. Yeah, then this should be error fetching just a single product. So let me remove the S, so singular, so we'll note it. So for this one, we want to fetch a single product. Okay, you know that for this one we are just requesting the business ID. Now in this case we are going to request that the user supply us with the product ID from as a query params, as a parameter in the query. So we are going to get the product ID of that particular product that we want to see, that single product that we want to see, product underscore ID. We are running out of time. That's from the request.params. Then I'm also going to need my business ID from the query object. Okay, this one is to authenticate that this is the user that actually that actually has this product. Okay, we are going to see all of that anyways. So please give me a sec. Okay, you know what, let's just continue. Is there a question? Is there a question from anyone? Okay. Oh, this should have been okay. I thought someone was actually raising up his hand, so let's move on. Anyway, so right, fetch single products. Okay, so let's continue. So we are going to just the same way. I'm still going to need my conversion that is here. I should have just declared this outside instead of just having it. Let me declare it as a global variable. Okay, so that I won't be needing to just keep copying and pasting it inside everywhere that I need it. So I can just get rid of this. Okay, can also get rid of this guy here. Okay, that's what I should have just done there. Then for this now, I'm going to fetch I'm going to say just the same way I'm fetching a single product based on what ID, but I'm going to first based on business ID. I'm going to fetch it based on what business ID and what and the product ID. Okay, so let's move. Const product singular is equal to my query promise into brackets. So I'm just going to say select everything, right? From sorry, this is a minute. Yeah, sorry about that. Select everything from product underscore info. Sorry, info. Okay, where business ID is equal to question mark and product ID is equal to question mark. Okay, now we are not actually, I use business ID first, so it should go the other way around. So business ID, then comma product ID. Okay, so business ID is the first query param and the product ID is the second one. So this is just going to return all the products that as what this business ID as a what as the business ID being supplied, then product ID as what as the product ID being supplied. Wow. Now we are going to say that what if product now if there is no product, is that if there is if there is no products, or let me just say if product dot length, okay, let's use it dot length is equal to 0, because we are just expecting one single product based on the what the ID provided, the product ID. Or are we using product ID? Well, that's my bad. We are not using product ID. Order number, yeah. This should be order number, not product ID. How shall I look in? Control D. Let's change this to order underscore number. Yeah, this is what we are using. So if product.length is equal to 0, that means there is no product, but if it was not able to fetch any product, we want to what to return res dot status 404, which stands for not found, dot json with a message that says product not found. That particular product is not found. Else we want to just what return res dot status 200 with a message that says product retrieved successfully. I'm using singular, then followed by what the particular what product that was retrieved, and there you have it. That's for retrieving a single product. We've seen create, fetch all products, fetch a single product. Now I want to what to update product. Okay, let's go at a fast rate. So now what are the stuff that I want to update? We want to be able to update the product name, the price, the part, and the what and the status. Probably we don't want the part to be, we don't want it to be per unit again, we want it to be per carton. We want to be able to update that. If it's not available anymore, we want to be able to update that to false. If it was available before and no longer available, and if it was and vice versa. and probably let's say there is an hike in price of the economy, want to be able to change the price, and probably the product name as well, want to be able to change the product name. Definitely we are going to be requiring all that info from from the user. So I'm just going to say export. I've done something wrong there. Export must update products. Okay, let's just call this request response. I still need my try catch statement. Let me copy this error again just to save us time. Let me reproduce this because I still have one endpoint left. That's the delete. Okay, let's leave you pending for now. We are going to go into that. Let me just move it down so it won't confuse anybody. So update products. Oh, let me even comment it so we won't have issue there. Yeah. So update products. So definitely want the user to be able to update multiple products, okay, or a single product. So we need the what? We need the business ID and the what? The order number of the product that the person wants to update. I mean the order number of that the person wants to update. We also need what the person wants to update. The person will be able to update what? Basically all the stuff that was being created under that particular product, all the fields. Okay, which has what? The product's name, the price, the par, the status, which is going to be gotten from the what? The request dot what? The body. Then the params is the order number of that particular product that needs to be updated, and the business ID for what? For authentication and what? Authorization of the of that particular what? User. Okay, which is gotten from the request body as a result of that middleware that is helping us to extract the business ID from the what? From the token base supplied in the request header. All right, so since we are already converting, we just need to what? To query straight up. Okay, so we need to just say const. I can decide to, because I want to, if the, okay, there's no need to actually save this inside a variable anymore, because for you to actually update a single product, that means you must have fetched that single product. That means you must have gone through this endpoint. If that product is not available, you'll have gotten this response. So what you just want to do here is just to query into your database straight up. I'm just going to use the query promise. Oh, I'm forgetting my await. I forgot my await there too, which is going to throw me an error. So let me put my await back here. All right, await. I did not make this an async function. My bad. And yeah, and this one too is not an async function. Okay, sweet. So now what do we want to do? We already know from our database section, we already know the query to update. We are just going to pass it here. All right, so this is just we what? Update product info. Please correct me if I'm doing the wrong thing. Product underscore info. Then want to set, what are we setting? We want to set product name, price, par, product status to whatever value that is being given by the user. Okay, so we want to update the product name to be question mark, comma, I'm using, then the price, the par, and then the status, where order number, sorry, order underscore number is equal to question mark. I'm using query parameters because of query injections, and business underscore ID is equal to question mark. So I'm just going to pass this as an array accordingly as the second argument inside this my query promise function. Okay, so the first thing here is the what is the product name, the par, the price, the price, the par, the product status. Then the what we have the what the order number, and the what and the business ID as the last one, which is the one that is here. Okay, so if this runs now, we are going to get, I'm just going to return a response with a status 200. Oh, created should be created when you are creating is 201. That's the status for creation. So this one updating is successful anyway. So 200 means success or okay. Dot JSON. Then I'm going to pass a message that says products updated successfully. Sweet. Then the error that is gotten from your error updating products. Okay, so we are now going back. Now we are at the final stage, which is what the deleting of products. Well, this should not be, this should be delete. Want to also be able to delete products. That user to be able to delete products. So I'm just going to change this to delete. Okay, sweet. So when we are deleting product, deleting we need, because this is going to be a delete request anyways. So we just need to verify that what this is the user that wants to delete this particular product, and also what is the order number of the product that needs to be to be deleted. So we need this order number as a query params, and also the business ID from the request object as a result of the token base supplied in the header. So all I need to do is just query into my database and delete that product based on the order number and the business ID supplied. Okay, so we have the query promise. Oh, I forgot to make this an async function again. What is always a problem? So we want to we know the query to delete, which is delete from this particular table, which is the product underscore info. What do we want to delete? We want to delete that particular, we want to delete from this particular table. We want to delete a column, okay, from this particular table, where we need to specify the order number and the business ID, because we are not just, if you just say order number, okay, but we are also that means anybody can then delete this particular product. So we need this business ID to make sure that it is the user that actually created it that is deleting it. Okay, and we are going to pass in the order number and business ID here, and that should be all. Then I need the response. So return res.status when it has been deleted. I think for deletion is 204 or something, but let's just still use the 200, which means that this request was successful. So JSON with, wow, stop disturbing me with your notification. That means products deleted successfully. So products deleted successfully. So this should be error deleting products, and that is the end of the logic, the handlers. So we have all the handlers: the create products, the fetch all products, fetch single products, update products, single products. You can't update everything at the same time now, unless you want to. Well, you can actually update all the products at the same time, just by what, where the business ID. So you just go into, but you want to update a specific product. That's why we're having this order number as a what, as a params here, and also deleting just one particular what product. That's why we're having the order number as a params here. Yeah, and also when you are fetching, we are having order number as a params here. So what you just need to do in the route now, we just need to come and what, include what, the handlers. So create product. So this is create product. Where is it? Yep, it's going to automatically import once I actually select his VS Code extension. That's VS Code feature. So this should be controller.js, I think. Is it complaining? He's not even complaining anyway. So for this one, fetch all products, I think I gave it to fetch all products. That's it. This is fetch one, fetch single product. Then I'm going to copy this guy here, Control V. So we are updating. Update is using, is either you use put or patch. Since we are updating multiple multiple fields, we are going to use output. And fetch is just a get request, create is a post request. Okay, sweet. Then delete, it should be a delete request. So there's a delete request. So let me get rid of extra line here. So now when we are fetching a single product, so we need to actually what, pass. I don't need to actually pass one here. Let me just pass in the ID, which is going to be what, colon order number. This is how you specify something as a param. So I'm just going to say order number. Okay, because that's why I specify inside the logic, because it's expecting what, under order underscore number from the what, from the request of params. Okay, and that is what I'm going to specify in the what, in the route as well, order underscore number. The same thing with this one. I can use the same word, the same path for this one, but the reason why I'm able to use the same path for this one, for fetching a single product and what updating a single product, is because what, they are what, different what, they have a different method. This is a get method and this is a put method, so they won't actually what, they are sending a different or records to the same what, to the same path, so it won't actually what, counter each other anyways. So I'm just going to call this one delete. So this one to have that what, we need the order number to also what, to delete as well, because what, of that particular, we want to delete a particular product. So let me get rid of this. And going back to our entry file, we need to specify, we need to mount that particular route. Okay, as you can see from this, I explained something earlier. You can see from this one, product is actually what, product is what, is similar to everything. There's a slash product that is similar here, so I can just get rid of this slash product. Okay, let me just get rid of this slash product here. Then when I'm mounting, I can just come and just say here, I'm just going to say app.use. Then here I'm going to say slash product, because that's the what I want my distance to have. Then I'm going to call the what, the product router. So let me just call products, product router. Let me just say router like this. Then at this point, I'm going to import it and say that what, import product router from this guy, product blah 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 blah. I think that's what I actually named the file. That's it. So the file is inside the source directory that is inside route, that is inside, I mean, this particular what, function or logic that I'm importing here is actually coming from what, from the from here, but I'm exporting it as a default. So whatever name that is coming here, but the default name that it should be HUH what we just do out. I think I explained this in the first section. You might want to take a look at that. So let's quickly test all these what endpoint that is working. Okay, So to test this endpoint now, I'm going to actually create another user. Okay, so let's start again from the beginning. So this is Topman. Let me use a fresh email address. Okay, we have this Topman boss, right? Or let me just use this same email address because I'm running out of my headset. Is actually sinking no battery into my ear and it's really disturbing me, and I hope you guys can actually hear it too. Anyways, where was I? So we have this topmanboss@gmail.com. The account has already been created. Okay, let me just log in so that I can get the token again, because the token expires in an hour. So I'll just copy this token, then go to this my price precision, and then create a variable and call it user token. Then save it as a variable here so that we'll use it everywhere. The reason I'm saving it as a variable, I'm saving it as a variable inside this inside this collection, so that this variable will be accessible by any request. Okay, by any request in the header. So now if I should create, what's that the next endpoint now? The next request is to is to create product. Okay, let's call it create product, which is going to be a post request, and this is going to be the same, but this time it is not user. It's going to take product, because that's what I mounted here. That's what I specify here, slash products, then slash the endpoint, which is in this route, which is where is it again for product, which is great. Okay, then what are the now these are the requests. In this request we have params, we have the alt, we have the header and the likes of them. So inside this alt, okay, that's the authorization header. What I'm just saying that I should inherit from from the parent. Okay, is either I say that I should inherit from the parent, or I come and choose bearer token here and then passing the token that is here. Okay, but I can just decide to say that it should inherit from the parent, since I've already set the token as params there. Or I can just come and say either bearer token and then come here. What's your problem? Control A, and then come and use the user token that is here. This is it, and then set it inside here. Okay, I'm using bearer token, and that is the format that my middleware actually use. It's saying that I should start with bearer, put a space, then add the token, and the token is what I save inside the variable called user token. All right, so let's go back to, so inside this I have the body, which is going to be raw type JSON. Now I'm going to collect, in this case I need the product name. Anybody in this call should give me a product name, please help me out with the product name. Anybody? Somebody on this call? There are people on this call now. All right, I believe we need the price. Okay, let me just set up the body of the request. We need the par, which is going to be there by default, and we also need the product status, that product underscore status. I think that's all that we need from the user. Yes. Okay, all right, yeah, don't worry. So let's say this particular user is selling cookies. Okay, and the price for the cookies is let's say $50. Okay, and this should be a string actually, because in our table, let's go back to our table. What would we specify? The type of price is an integer, not a string. So this should be this should be an integer. So let's just pass it. Probably they are going to put the currency in the front end. Okay, let's just say $50. Let's say the currency that is being put in the front end is the price is what is dollars anyway. So $50, and the per, this should be per carton. Let's have it by per carton. And the status, don't let us set the status. The status will be set by default to be what? To be available. Okay, let me close my quote. So now let's try something first. If I should remove I should put no auth, that means no authorization. If I should send this endpoint now, I'm going to get an internal server error, and that is because that is because what? This is the error here that says that what? Business ID cannot be null. Actually, this error is not properly, I missed something. I did not make use of this my user auth middleware that I actually put here. That's to extract the business ID. So how do I do that? Go to the product. So before the handler, that is creating a product, all I need to do is to pass the extract business ID middleware. So when you send a request to this particular endpoint, the endpoint will then run the logic that is inside this place. This is a middleware to extract the business ID. Now the next function that is here, that means when this middleware, when the logic inside this middleware has been completed, is going to, I did not even finish this. Wow, that's a very long of me. Then it's going to call the next function. That means pass, go ahead and go to the next middleware. That means if you've gotten to this place, you've saved the business ID inside the request object, then call the next function. That's to pass go to the next handler. I should actually have an error something here, but leave the error for now. Let's just say console.log. Let's just say console.log error, and let's return nothing. Return next. Just return next. Let's just leave it like that. So if there's an error here, or let's just return the same thing we've been returning to the user here. Where's that thing here? So let's return this same internal server error. Okay, inside the middleware, I think this should be. You know I said I was going to explain what this next is actually doing here. So this next is actually what is passing it to the next function, to the next handler per se in the route. So when the extraction of the business ID is done, that next function will be called, and it's going to pass. It's going to move on to the next handler, which is this create product. Then inside this create product, all the logic will be run. Then we are now returning a particular response. In this place we are not returning anything. In this business in this extra business ID middleware function, we are not actually returning anything. You can see there is no return inside here. It's only when it catches an error, that's when we are returning. So it is this next that is pushing it to continue this process and go to the next handler. So for this one too, since we are needing, I'm going to pass the let me just copy this line. I'm going to pass it here. I'm going to pass it here in everything, because we only need the an authorized a logged in user to be able to access all this endpoint. Okay, I hope you get that small explanation. Because we are running out of time, let's continue with our testing. So now going back to there's no header, and the message that I should pass, let's go back to this extra business again. If there is no header, or if the header doesn't start with, if there is no header, or if the header does not start with this, we are going to get this this message that says missing authorization header, and that is what I was expecting here. So we have what? Missing authorization header. I hope you can see this. Let me zoom in a little bit. So that's too much. Missing authorization header. So now let's now use the bearer token here, which is this token now, for instance. So if I should send this now, we are still getting internal server error. Let's look at what the error is from our console. They said alt header dot start with is not a function. Is that the error? Let me send it again. Oh, I think that's the error. There's something wrong with this thing that is here. You know what? Let me pass the bearer token. Let me pass it as an header here. Key. This is another way to actually go about it. Authorization. Then the value will be, I don't know why this thing is not working, but let me just get rid of this just because of time for now. So if there's no header, I should show this error. But now we are saying that what product created successfully because it was able to use that token that we supplied here. It was able to extract the token. So let's go to our database, or we can even, there's no need to actually go to our database. So let's try to fetch all the data. Let me do something here. Authorization. Let me use this bearer token so that it will be able to inherit from this parent. So that I won't need to come and be selecting what header token here. So let me put it to inherit from parent, because I've already saved it here already to use bearer token as the authorization. So, and it's using the user token that I saved inside inside this variable here. Okay, so let's create another product and see for this same particular user. Let's say the user is now selling let's say PS5, for instance, and he's selling it at a rate of $2,500. $2,500, and it's selling not per carton anymore, per unit. If it's selling per unit, the user doesn't even need to actually specify anything. The power will be will be generated by default we are using units. So you can see we have an internal server error. What's the issue now? Error creating. So par cannot be null. Oh, the user still needs to specify the par, even though the par should still be there, not null. Why using not null and then using a default value for it? Anyways, so the user still needs to pass the par here. So let me just undo. So par, let's say unit. Sorry. So if you send this now, we are saying that our product created successfully. So now let's fetch all the products. Let me add another request, and then we are saying fetch all products. That's the next endpoint. Since it's a get request and we are using the this one product slash all. I think that's a route that we specify here. That's a slash all. Okay, so have I saved this? Yes, I've saved this. So we don't need anything. The hot is being inherited from the parent. If I should leave it as no hot now, for instance, it's going to throw an error that says that missing authorization header. Now if I should just say inherit for parent now, it's going to give us all products retrieved successfully. This is the first one, that's order one, and this is the you can see we have the business ID. You can see the business ID is entered as this business ID. That means it was the same it's just fetching the product created by this particular ID. So now let me create another user. I don't want to actually get rid of. Okay, let me create another user with another email address. Okay, I think there's another user with another email address in the database. So let me just log in one. Yeah, I think I created another one like this. Yeah, sweet. So let me log it in and use this token. For instance, let me go and save this inside the same variable, this same user token. Let me update this token with this. I just want to test something that what no other user will be able to what to fetch all the products. So if I should try to fetch this product now, it's not going to give me, it's just going to give me an empty array, because what the token is different. It's the token of another user. This is another user that is logged in. It's not being able to what to access the product that was created by what the first user, which is Topman. Although they have the same name, Topman, but they have different what email address. Okay, so let me just return this thing back here so that we can just finish up testing this guy. Control Z, control Y. Oh, shh. Are you serious? Okay, this is still it here. You can control A, control C, then paste it. Let me save this now. Let me go and fetch all the products again. Voila, we have all the products again. Sweet. Let me save this. Now we can now fetch what a single product. Okay, so I'm just going to create another request, then fetch single product. So this is still similar to all the words, but this one is just taking a parameter colon order. Once you just type colon order number inside this Postman, you'll be seeing something like a path variable. Okay, that's the word, that's the parameter that is here. So order number, what's the order number that is here? Let's say we want to fetch this order 2, the one with order number 2. We just need to pass the value of 2 here and then send the request. It's just going to give us just one of it. Let's say we change the order number to just to 1. Now we are just fetching that single value. So in that case, what this is saying is, so when the user want to like this is our price precision now. When the user want to like get this particular they've not implemented that in the want to get this particular product called caustic soda, you just need to click on it, probably double click on it, or just I don't know how they will do the functionality. Then once you click on this particular order, the order number is being passed as a parameter when they are sending the response, so that it will just return that the information of that particular product. Then you can now update it. Okay, you can see that what the get and the update, I was using the same request. So let's save this one. Let's say we want to save this particular, I want to update now. I think the next one is to update. Let's add request update product. Sweet. Then I'm still using the same endpoint, which is this /order. So we want to update order 1. All right, I want to, we need to pass in what we want to update. Let's say, let me change this to raw. Let's go back to our first single product. So in this order 1 now, we want to change the price of cookies to be what? We want to reduce the price to $30. Okay, I want to, wow, product status is null. Are you serious? That's something. There's something wrong with this thing here. Product status is boolean and the default value is true now. Supposed to take a default value of true. Okay, let's just say we want to change the product status and then the price to be $30, right? So now we just go back to body, go to raw, go to JSON, then pass in the products. What we say we want to change again? The price. Want to change the price. Oh, I'm inside the first single value. Control Z, we don't need this here. We want to update, and mind you, update is a put request, right? So we want to update the price. We want to update the price to be $30, and also want to update the product status, product underscore status, to be true. Okay, we need to pass this as a string. I don't know why this thing was returning. It returned a null. I did not even notice it here. Project status. Definitely there's something wrong with our database that is not setting the default value. It's supposed to set the default value, but let's just set this to be true. Okay, so we have the params, the order number 1, that's the order number that's the product with this other number that we want to update, and these are what we want to update. We should send this request now. We should get, well, this is a put request. I'm not supposed to return anything. Oh, I see what is happening here. That means this statement that I made here isn't correct. Then I need to actually set something here to differentiate it, the route, and passing what update at the back of it. That means this is, or probably just pass it before it, just slash update, then passing the other number. Then this one too should be slash delete, passing the other number as as a parameter. Okay, so this is a put request. Sending this now. So we have product slash, oh yeah, I did not change this routes here, so this should be update, then slash the other number. So now in the params, the other number is what is 1. Let's say there is no other number, we are going to get an error that says that what product not found. Yep, that means working. Let's put our order number 1. So we have, wow, product received successfully. Something is actually wrong somewhere. This is a put request. Let's go to, oh, how shall I, this thing should actually work. That's not where the issue is coming from. Let me change this back. I'm using this same fetch. Sorry about that, guys. This should be update products, and this should be, it's because I actually copied it, delete product. All right, so I'm using the same handler for for this route, for the update route and the delete route. That's why I'm getting the same response every time. Okay, the issue was not with the path. We can actually use the same path for different method. So this should actually work back. So let me change this thing back. So this, I didn't see that before. So we still have our order number, we have our body. We should not, the kind of response that we should get here will just be, if this was successful, we should just get this product updated successfully, and that's it. So we have an internal server error. I'm sure it's coming from this product status that we set here. Yeah, product name cannot be null. Oh, 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 oh. We still need to supply the product name, the price, and wow, that's really serious. Let's go and just copy these guys here. Let's say, let's update. Okay, let's say we have the product name. I think we need to update the database actually. I think here they set it to not null. Yeah, not null. Probably we need to remove this, so that if we remove this not null, that means we'll be able to update just a single field inside the table, but will be mandating the user. We can just use a validation to mandate the user that what they need to provide it when they are creating it. Okay, but this constraint that is here is not saying that what anytime you want to send a query to this, you are doing something with this or product name, you are sending a query, you are inserting or updating, you also need to want to update this product's name as well. So now we have the product name. Let's just say the product name is still cookies, or let me just say want to change the name to okay, let's say chocolate. cook it to chocolate. I want the price to be this. I want the par 2 is not no, probably we need to update that. Sorry about that. So we want to update the par to be per unit now. Okay, per unit of chocolate should be $5. Okay, then that is it. The product status, I think these are everything, right? Yeah, product blah blah blah. So those are the 4 values. So let's say let's send it now. We are still getting internet server error. What is the issue? Incorrect value, true for colon product status. Okay, let me write it in capital letter. Probably that's what it's expecting. All right then, so let's send it now. We are still getting the same error. What's the value of true? 1, right? Yeah, product updated successfully. So actually it's expecting the value, not the, so let me fetch the single product again. So we are having product status is 1. That means 1 stands for true, I guess. Then 0 stands for false. So we can see we have chocolate, we have the 5, now it is per unit, then product status is 1, which signifies what true. Probably we need to update this this our database here, our database on schema that is here. Probably we need to set the product to be probably a type of a norm. Okay, where the user can select, okay, available, out of stock, just like the way it is what it is being represented here, available or what, out of stock, instead of the true and false whatever value, boolean value that we use here. So let's test the last endpoint now. So I'm going to save this. So we've been able to update. Let's say we want to delete this particular product. Okay, the product is no longer valid. So I'm just going to say add a request. So this should be delete product. Then I'm going to just call that same URL. Then I'm going to change the method to delete. Then I'm going to just pass the order number. My hot is still inheriting from the parent, and that is it. If I should send this endpoint, I'm going to get product deleted successfully. Okay, so let's go and fetch all the endpoints again. So if you should fetch all the products, rather all product, not endpoints. Let me even save this now. So if you should fetch all the products now, we are just going to get one product, which is this guy. If we should try to fetch that same single product with that same with the other number 1, we are going to get product not found. So that is this guy. So we'll be able to successfully complete the API for our price precision. I don't know if there's anybody that have any question in the call. If you're watching this video and you're not clear about anything, feel free to just add your question or your query in the comments below the video. We'll attend to it. All right, so anybody in the call that have a message, sorry, a question rather, is anybody that have a question? Let's see. Okay, I believe there are no questions. We just have, okay, that's it guys. So now the next section should be about how you can consume this API. You know, we are just testing using Postman to test the API. How you are going to consume the API so that you can see how the interaction is when you add a product and the likes of them, how it's being sent, the kind of response that you get, and the kind of prompt that you get, how all the product will be displayed, and all everything will be fetched from the database, not hard coded by the from the front end. Okay, but depending on that, we are going to get back to you. You're going to see updates on that. So just to wrap it up, I want to say thank you very much for following this section. So this will be the concluding part of the backend implementation of our price precision app. I keep pronouncing it that way. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyways, thank you very much guys, and I hope to see you in the next section. Goodbye, and happy coding.